everything we talked about already, we did fucking yesterday.
Whoa, dude, we've been talking since yesterday.
Dude, we've been talking since yesterday. Yo,
Yo, what's up, everyone? We're coming to you again. We did this video last year. Super exciting. Then it was one of our favorite videos that we've ever done. I think, Ethan, you mentioned in the short that you did, looking back at our past videos, one of the proudest videos that we have. And
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, it's our Oscars retrospective. So we're going to talk about all the moments of the Oscars that happened this past week and get into it.
Alrighty, so I have the list of all of the winners in the order that they were announced. So we're gonna go in chronological order. So that starts
Okay.
off with Best Supporting Actor, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain. I mean, I think that this was a surefire win. We were talking a little while before the Oscars started. You said how like for the past several years, Best Actor and or Best Actress have been
Yeah.
like locks ever since they were announced, and I feel that this year was definitely the case. Kieran Culkin had this one locked. It was he,
Like for
yeah,
supporting specifically, like the
yes,
last like ever since we've been starting watching the Oscars, there's been a lock in one of or both of the supporting categories.
yeah,
And this year it was both of them really, more so Kieran Culkin, just because of the craziness of Amelia Perez and Zoe Saldana. But I'm just so happy that Kieran Culkin won. And there's gonna be people out there who say like, oh, he's just playing himself and everything like that. Like okay, but you feel every emotion in his performance
right.
and you're just totally taken away. We saw that movie in theaters with our friend Lucas, and we got a private screening of it, which
We
was
did.
awesome.
We did. It was
Yeah,
so cool. We showed up on it was a local theater in our area, and it said there was like a showing at like let's say 6:50. We showed up like right at that time. We got tickets for it. Like the patron gave us tickets for it. We walked in and it was like 20 minutes into the movie.
more than that, it was like
Wait.
yeah, it was like a third of the way through,
It was wild. It was like the moment where like they were like smoking weed on the roof of the hotel room, and
and the
we're
theater
like,
was
wait,
packed.
this feels wrong. So we go back out, and they're like, oh, that this was actually a private screening for the executive producer of the film who's from this area.
We're
So
like, what?
them, all of their friends and family are here, and we're like, wait, we almost just crashed like EP's like private screening of their movie.
Yeah.
So weird.
And so we
Yeah.
go back to the desk and we explained it to them. And they're like, so do you still want to see the movie? And we're like, considering we bought the tickets
Yeah.
3 minutes ago and haven't seen it, yes, I would like to see the movie still. And they gave us our own theater and they gave us a private showing again.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Way in the back.
And
It was great.
yeah. Um, but no, like ever since we saw it opening weekend, we're like, damn, like that was a performance, and I'm so happy that he
Yeah.
got it.
Something I said this was something I put in my letterbox review for this is that I'm finding that like um over the past few years my favorite films of the year are turning out to be like there's like a trend. The more grounded, human and like real films. And like there's nothing crazy going on in this movie. There's not really like a crazy plot, but it's very character driven and it's got
Mhm.
such a very interesting real script to the point where like it like sometimes you just like question like whether you're watching a movie because the dialogue is just so real and current and like you're you're just like so invested in the way that like well Kieran Culkin specifically since we're talking about him like just the way that he touches like every single person on this tour and the way that he and Jesse Eisenberg like bounce off of each other. It's just such a it's a comfortable, fun, emotional watch and
Like it's so much fun.
yeah,
It's so watchable and it's so likable and funny,
yeah,
but it'll make you so sad
yeah,
also, but it'll make you feel good that you're feeling sad.
right, yeah,
And that's the best type of thing. It's so well casted. Also, just like the two of them are just perfect for the characters. And we're getting this in now because it doesn't show up anywhere else at the
Yeah.
Oscars, unfortunately.
We mentioned
Um,
like later in the like as we were watching the Oscars, like, oh well, A Real Pain was only nominated for supporting actor and original screenplay.
yeah,
And so like later down the line when they're like doing a live action short film or like original song, we're like, oh, A Real Pain's just like kind of chilling out here waiting for this to be done. So
yeah, yeah. They got them out of the way really early.
yeah.
Yeah, but no, Kieran Culkin was a deserved win, and all five performances were really good. We haven't seen The Apprentice, but from what I've seen, it's pretty good. But I'm happy it was Kieran Culkin,
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely.
So our
All right,
next
what's next?
one is Best Animated Feature, and that went to Flow. So this was very
Hmm.
reminiscent of last year, where last year we're like, we want Across the Spider-Verse to win. That's the popular one, but it went to The Boy and the Heron. Whereas like this year we really wanted The Wild Robot, but it went to Flow. But Flow, even though I haven't seen the full movie, it looked like a very deserving win.
Yeah, yeah. I got to see it before the Oscars, and like I was saying, like you know what, like I feel the exact same way about Wild Robot, and that um it's just like it's such a comfortable little watch. It'll make you feel so many great things inside. It's so well animated also. There's no dialogue in it, and it's just great writing, great animation. I would probably, I don't know what I was pulling for more. I would say like the argument I can make for the Wild Robot is because more people have seen it, it's more popular, and if it won the Oscar, like I don't know, like that would have brought more people together, I think.
Yeah,
But Flow was equally, if not even more deserving, I think, of it.
yeah.
So it was really good to see. I like how they photoshopped a little Oscar PNG into the cat's hand on the stage. Also, that was kind of funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to check that one out. uh it's not like one of those pretentious wins where I feel like it's just like, ah, well, they gave it to this one because like only the critics saw it at festivals, which is something
Yeah.
that like it's a trend later on at night where like the winners got up and they talked once they got their awards about like pushing for theatrical releases because that's definitely something that affects, I feel, viewership of this because a lot of the movies nominated people aren't able to see because they're not being distributed properly in
Yeah.
theaters.
Yeah. Um, and that was a big, I mean, like this is kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but the main takeaway for me from the Oscars is that like this is probably since we've been watching, this is the least satisfied I've been with what was the big winner of the night. Because like I liked Denora, but I'm not crazy about it. Um, every other Best Picture winner, like I can't say like I loved those movies like that we've seen. This one, like I'm the least satisfied with what the big winners were of the night. But the main takeaway for me is how great of a night it was for independent movies.
Yeah,
Like Enora, The Brutalist was another big one, which like A24 is basically mainstream at this point. But The Brutalist was made for $10 million. It was shot in like a month or something like that, which is ridiculous. It's insane for a movie like that.
Honora
And
was
then like
shot in like with 6 million. I read earlier today.
it's crazy,
Which is
yeah.
insane.
And then like even Flow was made for like pennies on a laptop, and it beat the Disney movie and the DreamWorks movie. It was a triumphant time for small independent filmmakers,
Yeah,
and it's tough to get mad at that.
right. But yeah, Flow, it like picked up a bunch of awards earlier on in award season, so I feel that like it's not a disappointing win or a surprising win by any means. I mean, you can speak on this more than I can because you've actually seen it, but I think we can agree that it's a satisfying and deserving win.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So next we have animated short film. I didn't watch any of these,
What
but
ended up winning? Was it?
In the Shadow of the Cypress.
Yeah, I don't. That's the one with like the noodly looking animation, right?
I don't know. It was the one that Dominic, I remember, predicted it because he said it was the one with the most pretentious title.
Yeah, and
I
and
thought it
it,
was funny.
yeah, and he was right.
I mean,
Um, yeah, I haven't seen any of these.
the only of the 3 to 4 categories that I feel that nobody really like taps into. The only one that I had actual skin in the game was live action short, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I didn't
We
see
will.
it short yet.
Um, yeah, like this year, I didn't see all 10 Best Picture nominees. I came the closest I ever did though. Even though I also saw nine last year, this year, the 10th one I actually want to see, Nickel Boys. So I didn't really have any interest in poor things last year. But so I didn't see all 10 of those, but I saw most of them. I just realized every feature except for the doc that won an Oscar I've seen, which is pretty big. But yeah, like there's a couple categories with I think animated short and documentary feature. I didn't see any of them.
Mm,
But yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, let's
Guess we'll kind of
move
skip
on
over
from
that
that.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after that, best costume design goes to Wicked. Uh,
That's great.
very
I'm happy
deserving.
about that.
I feel like I feel like it kind of like foreshadowed itself when Bowen Yang just came out in full Wicked costume. It's the only now in some cases you may say this is a bad thing, but of all of the films that I saw that were nominated, it was the only one where I really like thought about like the costume design and the
No,
intricacy
same.
and the color and how everything was put together, how everything changes. And of course, like I said, there's a saying that like your attention is drawn to um like a certain aspect of it, that means that like it wasn't like it didn't mesh well into the story. But I think that like costumes is different because like well with Wicked like you could go as artsy as possible. And I mean
It fits so well because
it looks
like there's so many unique designs on them. And like right after I saw the movie, and like I think like the first time I saw you after, I'm like, I'm like Bowen's costumes in the movie were amazing. Like that's like one of the takeaways I had from it, because like everything is like so unique and it stands out. Like Alphabet's glasses like that, or like
yeah, yeah.
Bowen's glasses. Everything was very
All the
unique and like very
glasses.
like iconic like that. So I'm really happy that it won because like Complete Unknown. It's just I'm not denying that there's obviously thought and artistry that goes into all costume designs. But Complete Unknown, Conclave, they're like period stuff or stuff that exists in the real world. So all the stuff that they designed for the movie is just kind of some deviation of that. And then Gladiator 2 and Nosferatu, more big, more over the top, but Wicked was the full fantasy
Yeah,
thing, and they could really, really sold it. And pairing it with what we're going to talk about later with the production design is perfect for Wicked.
absolutely. Yeah. So our next one, were the screenplay. Original screenplay was Anora, and adapted screenplay was Conclave. I think everybody was expecting this.
Yeah,
And I mean, I honestly, I think that for adapted, I feel that Conclave absolutely deserved it. Anora definitely
totally.
deserved it, but I feel you could also make I think you could also make an argument that A Real Pain was really good original
I
screenplay.
personally think that A Real Pain was the best screenplay of the five.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
I put that
yeah,
one as like if I were to vote in the Academy, I would have voted for that one. But I
same.
do like Anora's screenplay because
I
there's
do.
so
Yeah,
much like bouncing off of each other and like throughout the entirety of the second act when
there's a lot of
he's
energy.
like with the yeah with like all the
Yeah,
goons going around looking for fucking uh Vanya.
Vanya. Yeah, I just yeah, we have five times to talk about Nora. So this is the first one. So I've been watching YouTube videos about like breaking it down and everything. And it's like it's sitting a lot better with me because like the ending, I love the ending of Nora. It's so perfect. And my main complaint is that I wish that there was more stuff leading up to it that like it waits it waits to give me what I am wanting from the movie until the last like 10 minutes of it. And it delivers really well in those 10 minutes, but the movie's 2.5 hours. So like I just want more breadcrumbs throughout. Um, where am I going with this? Oh, like I say, I'm watching the different video essays about it and everything, and everyone says like how funny it is and like how laugh out loud hilarious and likable all the characters are and everything like that. And I'm like, I didn't really get that. Like, when I was having fun with the movie, I was having fun. I wasn't laughing I wasn't laughing my head off like how everyone else is. And you weren't either. We saw it together. So like I wish I could share that sentiment. But yeah.
For me, the humor came out of literally when everything like turned on its head. Like I wouldn't go as far as to say is what Sean Baker and a lot of the movie's highest praisers are saying that like the first act, the first 40 minutes from when Annie and Vanya meet up until like when they get married is like a fantasy because it's not.
Yeah.
It's very, very lewd and smutty and but I mean it's not like unnecessary, but I wouldn't say it's like a fantasy rom-com fairy tale. Like I wouldn't
No.
watch the first 40 minutes and just be satisfied. The humor that
Because
I have,
it's
right,
just
yeah,
overindulgence really. There's no sense of like romance or like full personal fulfillment in it or lack thereof until the ending. So
yeah,
like the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, is this what I'm supposed to be getting behind? Just indulgence, because
yeah,
that's what the characters are doing the whole time. And I get that, like why they're showing it through Annie's eyes. I get that. But I just wish there was something like on the outside looking in personally.
right. For me,
I'm not here to give notes on the screenplay though.
for me, a lot of the where I got the humor from was literally everything from the second act onwards when they're just like screaming the same things at each other and like no one's
When Igor
done.
is like, please stop screaming.
Yeah, Igor's just like, "Oh my God." And then Toros is just like, "Oh my God." And then Annie's just like, "Oh my God." Like it was
That's
just
pretty good. That's pretty good.
it was I don't know. I just thought that like they all bounced off of each other very well and like it's just such a silly situation. Like she's a stripper and she married into technically a Russian oligarchy and like the parents didn't Vanya's parents didn't want it so they had to go annul it and now they're like trying to like it's just all so silly and I think like it it like leans into that enough but also doesn't like it takes itself seriously but not too seriously and that's why like it's also able to be funny by the way that they're um playing off of each other so
That's fair. Yeah.
yeah
It's a deserving win. Not the one that I would have gone with, but deserving nonetheless.
yeah
And yeah, and then he's an adapted screenplay. I think Conclave was perfect for this.
okay
Um yeah, Complete Unknown. That's a good screenplay. I would say that that's a deserving nomination.
yeah
Because like it I talked to you a little bit about it before. We didn't really talk since you've seen it, but because it's like uh what's there a lot of the time veers into generic biopic territory just slightly. Like it just feels like a regular musical, a good musical biopic. But what isn't there? You don't see Bob's childhood. You don't see
yeah
him actually rise to fame. All the only things that you see of him are him in his house, in his room, or like on one stage or something. Like you see very small. You don't understand his passion. You don't understand what drives him, what to make these lyrics, to make these songs. He's very disconnected from the audience, and at the end, he just leaves. So I think that was a
right
really cool way to do it, to just kind of have him as this vagrant, you know?
it's an interesting
Migrant, I don't
concept
know what word
for
I said.
sure but it didn't like leave me there thinking like I wasn't like in the theater going like oh my God like where did he come from? Like, what makes him tick? Where is all of this coming from? Because like after a while, um, like I got used to the way that like just the film was going. It's like, oh, okay, so like the whole point is that like he is closed off. He is this complete unknown. But
Yeah,
it was a mix of like, because he's so closed off and we don't get to see how he ticks, it's just weird because like we're following him, so like we've got like there's no empathy. We're not like the audience isn't really emotionally connecting to him in that way. And also it's also just my bias um towards biopics. I'm not a huge fan of them because like you could go one way and like tell something completely entertaining but it's fabricated, or tell something that's a sequence of like true events but it's like meandering because life isn't like a three-act structure. So I feel like it's a tricky thing to figure out. Like I really loved Bohemian Rhapsody, but I wouldn't like give it a 10 out of 10 because in my brain it's like, "Oh, well like he didn't figure out he had AIDS until after Live Aid."
Yeah, that
It's just
it's
like
wild what they do with Bohemian Rhapsody.
even with The Greatest Showman, I love The Greatest Showman,
Oh,
but like he was a dick in real life, and Hugh
yeah.
Jackman is like I want to hug Hugh Jackman. Like he's like such a charming guy. Like it,
A lot
like
of artistic liberties being taken. But
yeah,
I think that Complete Unknown does definitely benefit from only showing a little point in his life. Like he rides into town to meet Woody Guthrie, and he like seemingly accidentally becomes the biggest star in the world. And the whole time, like it seems like he cares about nothing while he's writing these amazing like these amazing lyrics and like these like super like these calls to like to the world and for peace and everything like that. And he seems to like not even like really care about any of it. But he came into town to see Woody Guthrie. He accidentally becomes the biggest star in the world, and then at the end, he sees Woody Guthrie and leaves. And I think that it's really cool to just focus on this little window because it kind of sums up everything that the character is. But I do get just general musical biopic
yeah.
itis, you know.
I did this will probably be the only time we talk about this movie because it didn't win anything.
Loser. Yeah,
It got kind of clowned at the awards,
I
which is
know.
a shame because like, all of my issues with it aside, it was a solid movie. I enjoyed
It's
watching it.
solid.
I like
Didn't deserve a best director nomination, but it was
right. I mean,
solid.
no, like I like the world that
Yeah.
like it's very distinctly the 60s. I just like the look. I wouldn't say that the direction was as outstanding as some of the other direction and some of the other nominees, but I did like it. It was very visually pleasing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, complete unknown review. Uh, so
Best adapted screenplay nominee.
yeah,
Yeah.
we talked more about Complete Unknown than we did Conclave. Did Conclave win anything else? No.
No, Conclave only won one.
What I love about Conclave is it's so tight. You know,
Yes.
like there's no like it doesn't drag at all. The whole time when you're going through front to back, like you're feeling like you're just enthralled in this mystery. Now, um bit of a touchy territory here, but um I am openly Roman Catholic, Christian, but I don't like films that are about religion. So I was very like skeptical going into
They
this.
usually go one of two ways. They're either pandering and exploitative, or they're trying to get, they're just trying to tell the highly religious audience what they want to hear, or they are emptily provocative and just try and get a rise out of their highly religious
Yeah,
audience.
like
And that was my concern. Yeah, yeah, that was my concern of like what Conclave was going to do, but it doesn't. Like Conclave treats everything like all like I thought it was going to be like it's like guess what? The church like it's all bullshit. They're all jerks. They all suck and everything. That's what I thought it was going to be. Or it's like that's not good writing. But all of the conflict in Conclave is with the characters,
yeah,
and it's they're in this really high holy institution, and that's the backdrop for the greed that's going on. And Cardinal Lawrence is the guy who's trying to navigate it and make it what it's supposed to be. So it does it perfectly, I think. It handles it so well.
It's very, it's so, I don't know. I think it has like really good rewatchability. Like
Definitely.
it's only 2 hours long. Um, I wouldn't like personally, it's not high for me on the Best Picture nominees list, but like I would rewatch it more than others that maybe I've ranked higher just because of um it's just an easy watch. I feel for like for some mystery or like conspiracy movies, not that this is necessarily conspiracy, but like I feel that like sometimes they get too complicated and they can like lose you. But
Yeah.
like we've stated before, like this is like everything's all kind of everything's all kind of self-contained in here. So like there's very little room for like stuff to be kind of vague because it's
Yeah.
literally all right here, you know?
I literally like I rewatched it 2 weeks after I saw it. And like I saw it for the first time, and I think I gave it like an 8. I'm like, wow, that was really, really good. And then I just wanted to rewatch it again, and I watched it again straight through, and I was on the edge of my seat again, and I enjoyed it so much. And I bumped it up. Like it's a 10 for me. Like I love this movie. I'm quoting it, I'm listening to the score. It's it's a great, great movie. It's just a good tense thriller, and it just happens to be set in the church. And I think that that adds to the drama behind it because it does like it treats the things that it should treat with reverence. It treats them as it should, like as these characters would react to those things. Um, and you just fully buy into it all as an audience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Conclave.
Conclave.
Never forget. Never forget. I know it only won one
But it was a big Oscar. Like
Oscar, but never
screenplay
forget. Can't wait
screenplay
for
for
Conclave 2.
Conclave 2,
Yeah. The Return, and I don't know.
Return of Cardinal Lawrence, but this
Jesus.
time it's the final. All right, our next award is Best Makeup and Hairstyling. This will be
Chewing.
2 times we talk about the substance. I'm going to
Yeah.
take this
Yeah.
opportunity to say that at first I was averted from the substance because I thought it was going to the way that it had been presented to me specifically. I thought it was going to be like a cheap thriller horror that all of the teens, young adults would go crazy about for a couple weeks and forget
All the
about
letterboxed
eventually
people.
because it's not actually good. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be like Long Legs or Trap. So I didn't want to see it. And I remember my friend Mary, she was like, oh my God, you have to see this. And she said the same thing about Challengers and Saltburn, two really
Mm.
corny, but not really great movies. I mean, some
Yeah.
people would say otherwise, but personally, I don't think they're that exceptional. So, like, I'm like, I don't really know. Like, I don't think it's, and then the more I keep hearing about it and the more buzz it's getting and the more accolades it's getting, I'm getting frustrated because I'm like,
You
no,
automatically hate it. Yeah.
no. And then I remember you went to see it back in January and you texted me afterwards. You're like, I'm going to say it. I'm like, don't say it. I'm going to say it. I'm
I
like,
think I said, I'm like, you're gonna
say
hate me.
it.
And he's like, no. And I'm
And then
like,
it got to
it
a
was
point,
really
like,
good.
you said it was really good. We watched the nominees. The Substance got nominated for
5.
5. Yeah, quite a bit, I was going to say. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should look into this a little bit more. And then, like, it caught my interest. I am proud to say, well, maybe not too proud, that I signed up
Well,
for Mubi's free 3-month trial.
and
And
I signed into your account
yep,
so
so
I
you
could
could
rewatch The Substance.
and show your family. And
Yeah,
I
whole
watched the
family.
I watched the Substance and I really really liked it. I was scared at first because I'm not the best with gore and like horror has never really been my genre. I don't really like jump scares don't really bother me. It's really just the gore because like sometimes I can get like squirmy and stuff. Like in Jaws, like remember that one scene in Jaws where like the one guy's
The
scuba
head.
diving and then a
Yeah.
decapitated head comes? Like I can't look at that. Like that's not like
That was
I
a callback. Hey, wait, that was a callback to the Yo Bros episode one Jaws review.
Jaws
Check it
review
out.
from August or September 2020.
Yeah.
It was
I'm sorry, go ahead.
4.5 years ago.
Yeah. Oof. Oof.
So,
And we're still doing this,
and we're
Ethan.
still doing this, yeah. But like, and I was able to, how do I explain this? So I watched it and it didn't bother me at all. The only thing that made me squirm was the injections into the arm. Everything
Yeah.
else I was completely
That's
fine.
how my brother was. That's what he said.
I like, I like, there was, I was very able like to clearly understand that like, yes, this is fake. Like this is like pretty much a caricature. They're like over dramatizing this, but it does like look actually very freaking good and convincing.
Yeah.
I like when like Margaret Qualley's crawling out of Demi Moore's back and
It's
like
awesome.
thought that like that was gonna like freak me out. But I'm like, oh, okay, this looks good. But like I'm not freaked out. Like it's not
It's so
it's
like I don't know, just
right.
as a filmmaker, it's so great to see. It's like, oh, how'd they do that? Like
Right.
they thought of that.
So much so much practical stuff in that. There's this
Love it.
and another movie that used a lot of practical effects, Alien Romulus. I didn't love the movie, but I loved that it was like
Yeah.
a lot of practical. I mean,
We're
it's
not, we're, we're not getting off the substance that easy though. I gotta tell my substance story.
oh right.
So
So I didn't have much else
um
to say after that. I just wanted
okay,
some
all right.
a little
Um yeah, so
flipping.
I felt the same way because like all of the YouTube channels I watch that talk about movies were like glazing this movie up and like like oh I'm like this is like the art house like it's not A24 but A24 movie of the year and I'm like I don't really care about it because I'm kind of a scaredy cat like I don't do great with horror. For me it is jump scares like I could do gore. I just don't like jump scares. But like I was when they re-released this in the theater back in January, me and our friend Morgan saw it, and I told her I'm like if I hope you don't mind, but we're gonna sit in the back row because I don't see horror movies in the theater, and it's like the first time. So and like I literally like I knew what the monster makeup looked like. Like I knew what it all looked like. So like I was prepared and I knew when the jump scares were coming. So like I shouldn't ever do this again because it's terrible. You should yeah, I shouldn't do that before I see a movie. But I did with this one. And I saw it and like I was smiling the whole time. Like obviously like there's some parts that aren't funny, but like it was all enjoyable. The whole movie, just the way it was made it enjoyable to watch. Because even when it was really, really horrifying and horror near the end, it's still very tongue in cheek and it's very cynical. And it's like you feel like the kind of the biting humor in it. And just you can't look away just from how amazing the practical effects are and just every single frame of the movie. I love uh just the hallway and the carpet and the bathroom and everything. Like it's all just such a movie that it just exists in its own world. It doesn't take into account logic. How did Sue get a job? She doesn't have a social security number. It doesn't concern itself with any of that. It's just it's escapist and it's here to tell a very specific story and it tells it and it doesn't bog itself down in the details. And just that's why I just love this movie so much. And I've just been watching so many behind the scenes things of the director and the practical effects and the makeup and it's unreal. And I can't wait for more movies like this.
Yeah, I it's a movie that like I was saying before, I thought it was like I thought it was I was gonna go in and it was just gonna be like kind of like mundane kind of garbage. But it went in, and I would argue that maybe it's got one of the most distinct visions of any of the films nominated. And
I
there's
agree.
so much, we've talked about this on the side before, but there's a lot of like intertextuality to like Stanley Kubrick, because there's like a lot of like scenes that mimic like 2001, and especially The Shining, like the
Hmm.
bathroom scene, and like the way it like oh, the elevator too, the pops of red everywhere. It's just so like
It's great.
so cool to like, I get like I've said this a lot already, but like it's another movie that's just like so cool to look at.
That's why I like, well, I probably liked, it's like my top two, not counting Wicked, because Wicked, like, I never thought it was going to win Best Picture, and I never really wanted it to win Best Picture with part two coming out. So like my top two favorites to win were the Conclave and the Substance. And while Conclave I enjoyed more consistently than the Substance, like there's something like I have notes on the Substance on like the script. I feel like maybe you could maybe it would be better if this was changed or whatever. Who am I? But the Substance I feel like would have been the more inspirational win for me, like as someone who wants to make movies, just because there's so much filmmaking going on in it. There's, like you said, such a distinct vision, so many tricks, so much magic being used behind the camera. There's no CGI in the movie. Everything was done there. And there's a purity to that. Um, and we'll talk more about this when we get to Best Director.
Yes, yeah. So the next thing chronologically would be best film editing, but personally I have more that I want to say about Honora, but the rest of their wins are like or last, so I'm cool talking about that much
Okay.
later, and then we can move on. Um we can group the Amelia Perez ones. Let's talk about production design and then get our Wicked stuff out of the way.
Yeah, yeah. We touched on this a little bit ago, but nah, this was very, very deserving. It just felt good to say that Wicked won these Oscars, and like it just fully deserved them. The Academy posts little featurettes of all the nominees and all the categories on YouTube, like in the week leading up to the Oscars, which I love. Like I love watching those. And the Wicked one, like they were just saying like the influences of all the domes and like the surfaces of every wall.
Yeah.
And then I saw someone point out that they had to hide mics and stuff in the sets also because they recorded a lot of the singing on set,
Yeah.
which that's not only a great production design feat, but a great directing feat because it's all blocking and everything. And what a great job the director did.
It's tricky to get right because again, another thing we talked about while we were watching it. Sometimes when you especially for a musical movie, if you're recording on set, it can be a blessing uh or a curse. Like it worked really well with this movie. I don't think it worked particularly well in Dear Evan Hansen. I feel that like just because like if you look at Waving Through a Window, for example, and he's like singing in the hallway and everyone else is just pretending that like he's not singing and going about their thing, you hear like he's singing and it's getting drowned out by the loud ambience, and then like the backing track of the score is not mixed well, so it's like a it's also like kind of an issue with like sound mixing, so like it is really
Yeah.
tricky to get right. But Wicked, um that did it very well. Was it nominated for sound? Yes, it was.
Yes.
We'll talk about sound
Yeah, it
later.
was. We will.
I did you see like when Wicked was like first coming out, John Chu when he was talking about the story with the windmill wheel for
I
Dancing
don't
for
think so.
So, they were filming that. When they were filming that, he was not on set. He was, in the hospital with his wife, with his newborn child. And when they were
Wow.
filming it, they were zooming him in, or, well, they were calling him in over FaceTime to like oversee it. But they were like going ahead with production anyway. And that's just, I don't know. I just think that's
Like
so
the whole dancing
so
through life
endearing.
scene.
I don't know if it was like the whole number, but I think definitely on the shoot day or days where they had to work with the wheel, the
It's
windmill
so
wheel.
complex. It's such a complex
Yeah.
prop.
And they
Like,
absolutely didn't need it at all, but I'm so glad that they
oh, it
did.
was so good. It was so
Wicked
good.
was so, there was so much about like, let's go the whole mile,
Yes,
the whole
above and
10
beyond.
miles above and beyond, just for like little things. Like the train was an actual working, functioning train.
Get the Ethan train counter. Ethan, talk about the train. Go ahead.
And like it's I don't know. I just it fascinates me so much because like I feel we live in a generation now of like uh not complacency but like instant gratification, and it just like another like more props to John M. Chu for like going the extra mile for that specific shot that he wanted, and
Props for the props.
props to the props. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
um
good. That's good.
one thing that I will say I don't this is more so about Wicked itself and less about the production design. It was my favorite of all of the Best Picture nominees I saw. I didn't see Nickel Boys and I didn't see Amelia Perez. Um, I was like a part of me was kind of hoping that it would win, but I understand completely that it's the uninteresting choice because everybody saw it. It's the musical movie.
Something
It's
that I don't like is how everyone just like the film people. Like I feel like the film people who I watch on YouTube, the same people who love The Substance, and who like adore Honora and everything. They're the same people who like hate Wicked. And like I'm like, can't we just enjoy everything? Like
like
can't we just like see what everyone else likes and enjoy it for what it is? Like, do we have to hate it because people like it?
well, critics hate well because everyone else likes it, so they can't like it because that's how
Exactly.
people are. It's like, oh well, like you find a way to be gatekeepy. If everybody likes it, well, like, oh well, like you don't understand film because like it's actually not good. Like dude, like
It's like all the people who like first like, were the first people to see Everything Everywhere All at Once at like South by Southwest when it debuted. They're like, this is huge. This is one of the best
yes,
movies ever made. And then it won Best Picture, and they're like, it was overrated.
it was
You know,
over.
like
Right,
it's like
right. Oh man, I
feel
I
what you feel and let others feel what they feel, and we'll live in such a happy world.
hate film people. I will also say though, I have seen some people who tuned into the Oscars and they would post like Wicked was snubbed, don't even talk to me. It deserved every award. And like, okay, now
I
like
wouldn't go that
it
far.
right. Like I'd say like it deserved to be recognized for every
Mhm.
award. But I don't think it needed to have one. Like
No.
you can't say like don't talk to me. It deserved every award it was nominated for when you like you can tell me that once you've watched The Brutalist and Amelia Perez and like everything else, like
Yeah.
don't like go into the race saying like just seeing Wicked and then saying it deserves everything. Now when we were filling out our Oscar ballots, so like we had an Oscar party at Enzo's house, and my parents came over, and my mom filled out a ballot which filled out Wicked for everything. Now I would like she wasn't like Wicked deserved everything. Don't talk to me. Like she didn't have that attitude, but that was the only one that she saw. So it was more of a
Yeah.
funny instance and not
Yeah, like
annoying.
there's nothing wrong with rooting for your favorite movie,
Right,
but like just don't make people feel like idiots for liking things. You know, like
right, 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 right.
yeah.
Oh man, I
But
think
that like if we could had only win two Oscars, I'm happy that this was the two. And we're
yeah,
we're getting another one next year. So
yeah.
like
I'm interested to see um how different it's going to fare next year because like I wonder if like will it be nominated for as much, and if it
I
is
know.
going to win more,
I
like
know.
because I feel
It,
that
it's
like
it's fascinating.
it's oof.
I don't know what to compare this to. Like a part one and part two coming out in consecutive years,
I mean,
and the thing only being two parts because Lord of the Rings,
Lord,
they were
right.
consecutive, but that was three parts. So like, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be like. We'll have to see.
I mean, Return of the King, that picked up all of the accolades.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think Two Towers won like the least amount in the
right.
series.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Um.
We will
Okay. Yeah.
shall see. So, yeah. I think we can move on. So, the next couple, Best Supporting Actress, Zoe Saldana, and Best Original Song, El Mal. So, I'll get my stuff for Amelia Perez out of the way. Um, so you can talk about the bulk of this because you actually saw it. But I will say, I chose not to indulge in Amelia Perez. I saw clips online. It didn't make me want to watch the full
You
movie.
saw the one clip on
Huh?
over and over. You probably, how
I
many
saw that
times did you
multiple
see that
times.
one clip? Yeah.
Um, I saw parts of El Mal. I saw parts of Selena Gomez's song, I think. Yeah. It was a while ago,
Very
like
good.
when it was first nominated. I didn't really have any interest. This is like last year when you were like, I have no interest in Poor Things. Like I genuinely didn't have any interest in Amelia Perez. I did
Yeah.
before the race, but then all the scandals kept coming out, and everybody was like saying how terrible it was, and I don't know. I didn't want to go in, have it be a tough watch, because like I'm not someone who when it comes to movies, I'm not a quitter. Even if it's bad, I make myself go through the whole thing. But like it can be
Yeah.
rough. I remember you were telling me you were watching Maria because it was nominated for Best Cinematography and it took you 2 weeks. I didn't want to have to maybe go through that and so I decided not to go through with it. But I will say, I'm not disappointed that Zoe Saldana won because I think like just by herself, she's a great actress. Everything in Marvel and Avatar, I think the only two franchises I've ever seen her in, but she always puts on a great performance. So I feel that like at the very least, it's a great career Oscar
Oh God, yeah.
award.
I'm happy for her.
And yeah, so like I'm not like the people like the hypocrites who are like, "Oh, it shouldn't have gone to her because everything associated with Emilia Perez is bad." I'm like, "No, I feel like in certain situations you do have to be able to like separate like things, you know,
Yeah.
because I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
yeah,
so a lot of my thoughts on Amelia Perez, I said in when we were reacting to the nominations. Um, and I largely stand by what I said. I didn't think it was a bad movie. It's like I give it like a high six, low seven out of 10. Um, because like it's not like how it was when I watched Maria, where I was just like banging my like Squidward in in that one scene from SpongeBob. I was banging my head on the table because of how boring it is. Amelia Perez, it's not boring. It's engaging, and there's a lot of really good moments and there's a lot of good tension and good build up to it. In my letterbox review, I say how it's like an arrow being pulled back, but then at the end, instead of letting go and having it like fly, is it the string just snaps. Like there's a lot of stuff being built up, but none of it goes anywhere.
oh,
And so like while I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, what it stands for is bad. Like beyond like the misrepresentation, the disrespectful kind of depiction of everything that everyone knows about now. There's been so many videos made about it, which it's like, you know what, that's not good. Even beyond that, the directors like just ignorance, willing ignorance on like doing research and everything, and how it's just so clearly trying to get Oscars. All of that, and then you throw in Carlos Sofia Gascon probably sending a tweet that is probably sympathetic with Hitler, and it's like, ooh, like that. There's another little thing on top of that. there's so much that the movie stands for that is not good. The movie itself, I wouldn't say is bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. But what it stands for is bad. So I'm happy that Zoe Saldana won. I there's debate of if she's lead or if she's supporting. I don't care. Um, she's good enough in the movie. I wish her character got more. Like the writing, her character wasn't written super well, but she's always good. And then the song El Mal, it's good. Again, the whole the what the song like the context of the song is really great. It's like this moment where Zoe Saldana's character is like calling out all of these like fake like people who are like I don't remember super well, but but she's like calling out these like corrupt people and everything like that, and saying that they're all liars and everything. It's a really really cool thing, and the song is really cool. You feel kind of like headbang to the song, but again, just like everything else in the movie, doesn't really go anywhere. Um, I'm happy that we got to hear Mick Jagger say "Al Mal." That was kind of funny.
Mick Jagger. Oh, funny.
I, I wish that "Like a Bird" from Sing Sing won Best Song.
Sing Sing.
You gotta see that movie.
I know. I was gonna say something, but I don't have a right because I didn't see the movie, but I want to. Coleman Domingo's coming to campus.
That's gonna be so cool
So
for
excited.
you. Yeah.
But yeah, is that all we've got for Amelia Perez?
I think so.
Right.
I think we could stop talking about Amelia Perez for the award season. Wow.
All right, we can put a wrap on
Wow. Ah.
that. So next we got the documentary categories. We got documentary short film and documentary feature. Now,
Mhm.
we neither of us I didn't see either.
I
Uh,
saw the short.
you saw the short. You saw Only Girl in the Orchestra. Neither of
Yeah,
us
it was
saw
fine.
Motherland.
It was fine.
End review, period. All right, next one. No.
Seriously, like I don't know. It's not like it was fun. It was like kind of inspirational. The girl who it was about seems like a really really cool person. Um, but like it wasn't anything particularly special or amazing. I really liked Instruments of a Beating Heart. I saw that and that was like it was such a feel good, cute little movie, especially when like every short film and documentary was about either like refugees or sexual assault or both. Like really, really heavy stuff. This one is about a little girl practicing like a drum for her school like concert, and it's so sweet and like it's on YouTube, so watch it if you can. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about The Only Girl in the Orchestra. It was good, but yeah, Oscar win surprised me.
All right. So now we're coming up on a couple of exciting awards. We've got Best Sound and Best Visual Effects, both going to Dune Part 2. Now, Best Sound, we both called
We
11
did.
months ago
The
when
receipts are
we saw
there. The receipts are there. Check it out.
it. That review was there. 50 of you saw it. So,
That's 30 more than the last video that we did.
yeah, Bill.
Nah, like yeah, I'm happy that Dune won sound. I'm happy that Dune didn't sweep like Dune 1 did, even though Dune 2 is so much better than Dune 1, I think.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it was. It was.
yeah, I am happy that they kind of chilled on giving it so many Oscars because the sound and the visual effects, no, you can't complain about that. Yeah, I complain about Dune all day, but sound and visual effects, I can't.
You know what I think it was, though? The reason why it didn't get so many? I think it was because it was a March release and not a November release.
Mm,
I mean, it's
there's a
still
theory.
like kind of a travesty that like they didn't nominate Denis Villeneuve, but
Yeah.
hey, I think maybe Dune Messiah, maybe he's gonna get it.
I think you might be
Still
right.
hope.
So
Still
then
hope.
by that logic, Megan 2.0 will get some Oscar nominations because
That
the
is
first one was a January movie and the
yeah,
second one is a summer release.
absolutely correct. That's exactly what I'm saying.
You heard it here first.
We're calling it now. It's
We're calling our shot. Do it. Megan 2.0 Best Picture.
yes. But Dune was just like an incredible experience. We went to Cinemark, right? It wasn't IMAX, but like it was one of the larger auditoriums, and we sat in front, and it was just like crazy being swept up into that world,
Great to be in the theater for that
even if
movie.
we didn't entirely understand everything that was going on. Um, I was pretty locked in for the first hour. I was latching onto it, but then when we uh met Fade Rotha, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
From there, and then like I started to get a little bit confused from there onwards. And he like impregnated a Bene Gesserit, and then like Paul became a dick, and then got like six more names, and then Lisa
Yeah.
Al Gaib. Um,
I forgot so much about this.
but it really was like a good like for me again because it's not it's not an easy watch. Like I feel that like in addition to it being 3 hours, you also need to have a really good knowledge of the first one, which doesn't have too much. Um,
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand the people online who are like, nah, Dune 1 is where it's at. The OG, like, where are all my guys at? And I'm sorry, but you're
There's
wrong.
nothing exciting that happens in Dune 1. All the exciting stuff is saved for Dune 2. You
It's
know,
like,
like there's no like action scenes in Dune 1
I mean,
really.
like the story stuff, there are some story beats in part one that are interesting. I couldn't tell you what they are because I forget, but I remember
Mm.
feeling interested while I was
The
watching
the
it.
benchmark of an
No,
interesting movie.
but like character wise, like it's just like
Hollow, kind
how
of.
is how is Paul evolving aside from going from regular son
I
of a monarch to Jesus Christ? Like he's literally just like
I
that's it.
saw a post that's like Denis Villeneuve confirms that Dune Messiah will end Paul's story, and I sent it to you, and I'm like, wait, did Paul's story begin? Like I feel like it's just getting started.
And we tried to like figure out when it would have started, and
Yeah,
um I just hope that like I'm satisfied by Dune Messiah. I know the rest of the world is because everyone adores Dune, but like I just hope that like I don't walk out feeling frustrated. I wasn't frustrated coming out of part two, but I think just again, because I don't love it as much as the rest of the world, um, and I feel as if I'm not getting something, it makes me a little bit like frustrated by it because
yeah, I agree.
think it's I don't think it's the greatest thing in the world. Like other like franchises that people gush over, like The Lord of the Rings. That was something I was very skeptical going into, but I came out and I was like, you know what, that was really solid. Like I could like there's um an overarching story. There's a lot of interesting characters that all have like separate journeys, and it's like again at base value, I think it's a very like it's very interesting and it's not like a hard watch. Dune is just like thick and
Mhm.
it's just thick, you know?
It's thick, and there's not. I feel like there's not a whole ton that a regular person could grab onto.
Right.
But we're in the minority because everyone sees something that we don't in it. So maybe we're just idiots. I don't know.
Right. All right, Dune. We'll see you in 2026 or 20.
Yep,
I don't know, whenever.
whatever.
All right. Next one, I'm gonna tell a story.
Tell your story, Ethan. Because I
So,
have a bone to pick with this one also.
so for best live action short film, this is one that I feel this is a very easy one to get some skin in the game. If they just released all of them on like YouTube or Vimeo or something,
I
but
don't know why they don't.
you don't. It's so like because I feel like with short film it's very easy to just like everything's like 20 to 30 minutes. Like
Mhm.
you're able to find the time to watch this. I was very lucky enough this year in my producing class to watch all five of them. Over the course of 3 weeks, we watched all five um nominees for best live action short film. It's a weird ass class. The only way we were able to watch it was because my professor votes in the academy. This
That's
guy,
crazy.
Doug Claiborne, was a producer on Apocalypse Now.
That's crazy.
Francis Ford Coppola. He was Francis Ford Coppola's bitch for 20 years. He has produced some of the weirdest, craziest films ever. But he has the like the the class is just like so low stakes. But I'm not here to complain about my producing class. I'm here to complain about the shorts. So we watched all five shorts, and in class, we all took a vote, and we all pretty not unanimously, but the majority was for Alien, which I think is a very, very like it's a heartbreaking story about deportation. So it follows um a mixed family and they're trying to get there's a husband, a wife, and a daughter. And the husband is trying to get his green card. He's trying to get his green card so he can like finally be like considered like a citizen in the United States. And right from the beginning, they're establishing that like this is a dire situation. Like they have to do this like soon. They are in danger. And the whole point is that like there are like ICE officers like show up to the agencies where you're supposed to get your green card and they deport you from there. They target places where immigrants are trying to become citizens and they deprive them of that before they can even get that chance. It's so heartbreaking and the filmmaking is so masterful. The directing and editing is very like it's just so powerful. Everything's so hectic and the cuts are very fast and everything just feels so frantic. Like I like it was the first one that I saw, but of the five, but I knew that like, oh, this is a very, very good chance. And given
Hmm.
that the Oscars is very, very liberal, I figured that this would be something that they would go for because there's a
Yeah.
whole scene the where the wife is she's like sitting in the waiting room and she's watching the TV and then they show a clip of Donald Trump and I'm like, "Oh, the Academy's going to eat this up." So, I mean, hey, they nominated The Apprentice. So, but there was that. Another one that I really liked was Anuja. You saw Anuja. Anuja
I
was
didn't see Anuja. I saw the night before the Oscars because my two most recent check-ins that night were Honora and Anusha. And that
Anora
was
and
kind of funny.
Anuja.
But
Anuja,
Anusha was really sweet.
yeah.
I liked Anusha.
It
I
was I
I
felt
saw two. I saw two of them, and Anusha and I'm Not a Robot,
yes.
which we'll get to.
Yes. But I liked Anuja. I was kind of a little annoyed that they didn't really give us an answer. It's like, oh, is she going to show up to take the test, or is she going to succumb to her employer just so her sister continues to have a job so she can like continue to sustain herself? But I don't know. I feel that like you could have gone either way, and it would have been something really powerful. But like not telling,
Mhm.
I thought it was I don't know. Personally, didn't sit right with me, but I still really enjoyed the short. The Last Ranger was really good. That was about rhino poaching. That was really sad. And The Man Who Could Not Remain Silent, another powerful one about deportation. And St. George gets a cameo for those that know. Viva. And the last one, I'm Not a Robot, was the only one that I would say I didn't really like or connect with because it's about this woman who's working an office job and she's taking the I'm not am I a robot?
Gotcha. Yeah.
You're not a robot test. And slowly but surely she finds out that actually she's a robot and there are little clues by all the people that she interacts with throughout the film that show that she has been gaslit her entire life um, into thinking that she's a real human, but she's not. She only remembers this far into her past. She doesn't have any recollection of her parents or anything. And like, I don't know what the film was trying to communicate. It was just like, it felt so pretentious. And I don't know. I didn't like,
Yeah.
it didn't leave me with anything.
I saw that one just like one night. I'm like, I guess I'm skinning the game. I'm gonna put this on. And I read the description of it like on IMDb. I'm like, this sounds fun. Like, this is a goofy little concept. It'll be cool to see. But like I don't because the beginning of it, you could see like it looks like they're setting up like a comedy thing where it's like it's what a crazy premise that is, you know? So but it's not funny at all. Like I don't know if it
No,
thinks it's a comedy and it's just done by like a really humorless, pretentious person. But it's just like it goes from there and then it's just meanders. It's like, oh, I am a robot. And then like I don't know, I didn't even really understand what happened at the end because it just keeps going in circles and asking the same questions over and over. It's like, oh, what is it's so deep? What does this mean?
it's not
Whoa.
deep. It's not worth
Like
it's not I don't think it's
it
worth
isn't good. It isn't very good. Like that was like the only thing that I've seen that Maria where I'm like, this is bad.
So here we go. We watch the last film. Doug is like, all right, let's take a poll. And we all voted for the films. Um, two people went for Man Who Wouldn't Remain Silent, three for Last Ranger, five for Anusia, and seven for Alien. I'm like, wow, I genuinely think that this one has a good chance of winning.
How many voted for I'm Not a Robot?
Zero.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow, if Alien wins, then I contributed to
We were all rooting for
the
it. We were all
recipient of an Academy Award winner. So they announced the award, and it goes to fucking I'm Not a Robot. And
I was like, what?
it's literally the only one that like I didn't think was worthy of it. Like you could
Like
have made the case
I've
for
never been
any other one.
I've never been so upset that a movie that I saw was the one that won. You know, because like I was expecting and hoping for it to be one of the ones I didn't see. I wanted it to be Alien because I can be like, hey, like that's a really cool story. Like my friend voted for that one, but it didn't. It was the bad one. The one I saw, it was the bad one. I'm like, what? What do you mean?
So yeah, live action short film. There we go.
Yeah,
So for this next one, we're gonna talk about best international feature, which went
yeah.
to, if I must say very candidly, the greatest movie of all time
Ever the
ever.
greatest actress to ever
The
live.
greatest actress to ever live
You saw a reaction to this one winning.
in the greatest country to ever. We're not making fun
Yes.
of you, We're not making fun of you.
No, 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 no.
We
It's such a passionate fan base, and it is
we
so funny
admire it
to
so much because
it
like
is
the way that y'all came together for this film is wonderful. It would
it's
have been
unreal.
we would have made fun of you if it was a bad movie, but I'm still here. It was a really great movie.
Like I'm genuinely so happy that it won. Um, no, like I strive. Our country should strive for the unity that Brazil has behind this film.
Yeah.
Genuinely, and it is so fun to be a part of this community
We
and just lose our minds over it. But not like it's a really good movie, man. Like I saw this one in the theater also. Somehow it was released at like a local rinky-dink Regal near us.
Yeah.
And it was a really powerful movie with it does such a good job of because when a movie like this like plays on the tragedy of like the whole point of it rests on buying into the tragedy of losing a family member or of like the government taking a family member from you. You have to do a good job. You have to care about it. And like that happens automatically because it's a family. It's the father he's missing. Like that's crazy. But the movie does so well at establishing the dynamic you care so deeply about
Yeah,
all. And like you
absolutely.
said, you said like there's so many kids, and you learn to care about all of them.
Yeah, and you
And
like very quickly are able to like
yeah,
distinguish them. Because like I don't know how, but like they all look very alike. They look like they're
they look like
actually
their family.
they
Yeah,
look like they're actually family, and it's so like it's so weird, but it's a really really nice touch. I mean, if only best casting were well, we'll
maybe
talk
that
about that in a
that and a
year.
real pain, that and a real pain would be here. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, it's just a really inspirational movie. Fernanda Torres does an amazing
Oh
job.
God.
Like she, I would equate her performance to Ray Fiennes, where like there's a lot of stress under the surface. There's a lot of tension going on, but on the surface, they're like, I have to remain calm. I have to keep
Yeah.
this composure for the people around me,
And I
and
think
it's so well done.
it's a really hard thing to portray because you have to get into the mindset. You have to get into the headspace of that heartbreak, this terrible thing that's happened. Like, again, like losing a family member, the way that you're finding out, like kind of unofficially they're that they've died, not knowing how, and the way that it's happened, like unrighteously, like the government like and then having to so like after you get into that and then just having to mask it is just so
It's amazing.
like damn, it's the layers.
Yeah.
Acting's hard, guys. If you can't cry on command, oof, you can't play. You can't be Fernando Torres. Tell you.
None of us can be Fernando Torres.
No, I can't be Fernando Torres.
I can't be Fernando Torres.
But yeah, I'm Still Here was really good.
If we were Fernando Torres, we'd get a lot more views on our videos, I think,
yeah,
and a lot more comments.
probably. If you're from Brazil, blow up the comment section with the Brazilian flag.
Go for it.
Yeah, because we might not get that again, and that's kind of sad to me. Just do this for us one last time.
That was the funniest part of when we posted our nomination reaction. I was checking the analytics, and it's like half of your viewers, which is like over 500 people, are Brazilian men. And I'm like, I never would have thought that when we started this channel. Like it's amazing. YouTube is a crazy thing. And
We've had YouTube Studio pretty early on since we've had it, and I Brazil was not high on our demographic, at least I don't.
no, no, probably wasn't even on there.
Yeah. Next on the list would be The Brutalist wins. Brutalist got best original score, best cinematography, and best lead actor. Now, it was like getting nothing throughout like the first huge portion of the awards,
Yeah.
and then it like picked up quite a few towards the end.
I
Um,
thought it was gonna be like full Killers of the Flower Moon.
just getting like clowned completely.
Yeah, but the awards that it got, I'd say it deserved it. The score I'm not crazy about. It's good at a lot of points. A lot of points it's not. Just listening to the score, I forget how it complements the movie. both of us feel the exact same way about The Brutalist. Nothing made me happier than reading Ethan's Letterboxd review, saying basically all the same things that I said in mine, and being like, "Oh, I'm not alone."
Yeah.
Like I liked it, but like it it was too much. It was too like pretentious near the end.
It got like, yeah, like it starts off really good in the beginning. The first act is like it's long, like and could
The
probably
length isn't what bothered me
10.
though.
But like once you get into act two, it like starts to kind of veer off from what you're thinking it's gonna
Mm.
be. And it wasn't the most satisfying ending, but like I gotta say, I do really think that the story it's trying to tell is compelling. Because
Yeah, definitely.
about how it's all about how like the American dream isn't everything that it's made up to be. And because like if you were to set this up as like a really tropey cliche movie, you got this um Jewish refugee from World War II moving to America to pursue his passion, his career as a brutalist architect. And that's grounds for I mean, even if it's cliche, a pretty uh interesting story. But I think the way that like it got so messy and muddy with the way that like he had networked with and like connected with different people and then like uh kind of like made some enemies and like didn't really get to be as well off as he uh really could have been and deserved to be because of his talents was very interesting in the way that like he decided to move back to Europe with his wife to be with his niece and her husband because everything was just becoming too much. I think um it was just once we got into the second act, it was just um losing its clarity a little bit. And again, I don't know if
Mm.
it was the length or if it was just like if it was the length and I missed it or if it was just um being pretentious and being too vague where film critics are just like, oh," you know, uh,
Yeah.
like we've talked about the rape scene and like it wasn't presented in the way that that we think that it really needed to be because it's kind of like it's a really pivotal moment and I didn't really know what to think of it afterwards.
Yeah, there's not really much lead up to it. It's
Yeah,
just it's there, and like you realize like 10 seconds into the scene, like, oh, I didn't expect that.
yeah, but
And that's
it
like the whole cause for like the end
yeah,
thing.
and it like there's a cop out where like he disappeared and they didn't find him and it wasn't the fact they didn't find him the fact that they didn't like there was no answer. It's not like, oh, and we never found
No,
him again, or like,
like
oh,
the epilogue didn't like acknowledge it, you know?
um, it was but I do appreciate it very much in for I guess the core of what it's trying to be, and um, also just a lot of the technical elements, the cinematography. Oh my God, I
Beautiful.
I think it is the it's my favorite movie to look at from this award season.
Yeah, I
If
might agree with you.
a lot of the shots, a lot of the frontal tracking shots from the vehicles are so gorgeous. All of the wide shots of um certain like landmarks, objects. It's just like
I
it's
love when the opening credits were
so
scrolling
good.
across the screen, which I love that. I like how they did
Those were
that.
good.
But the camera was on like the front of a bus and it
Yeah,
was going, and I don't know why. It's just like it hit so hard. It's like, ooh, like or like the upside down shot of the Statue of Liberty, of course. That was really cool.
yeah.
The famous shot that's on the poster where there's the sparks and he's going up behind with the cigarette in his mouth. And the context of that, which is like the most badass shot I've ever seen, the context is that he's building a chair. And that's funny. But
I like
yeah,
the
it
opening
was
credits. I didn't like the end credits. Those kind of ticked me off because it was just like this. I'm like,
it was a diagonal. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like okay, but um, but I
It was
did
good
like
though.
it.
It was like
I appreciated it.
I
I
like the way it's made. I don't no, yeah, I don't know.
I
I
want
like the way that the movie is made. I don't like the way that the story is made.
I want to rewatch it, not like soon, but like be in a couple of years and like see if my opinion like shifts a little bit now that like I know what it's supposed to be. Maybe I'll be looking for different things. Maybe I'll appreciate the
Fair
second
enough.
more. But everything just felt so grand. Like it was one of the
Yes.
grandest uh movies this season, and I feel that it's very deserving of cinematography and score because both of those elements absolutely help in communicating uh that. Uh,
Yeah. And lead actor, let's talk about that. Um I'm happy like he was good. He somehow became the boring choice to win though. And Timothy Chalamet didn't.
yeah.
Timothy Chalamet became the interesting choice to win. So I was rooting for Chalamet. But Adrian Brody from from the second they read his name to the second he walked off the stage was probably like the worst 6 minutes of the whole thing. He throws his gum at his wife or whoever that
Oof,
was. I think it was his wife. And then he just speaks for so long,
so
uh,
long.
not saying too much of anything.
We like took
Uh,
breaks and like were like just talking amongst ourselves like
we didn't even
we were
gag,
in the
right?
living room and then like 30 seconds later we'd look up and he'd still be talking and it's like dude what are you getting at
Yeah,
now?
it's like, dude, like I get it, but like you're an actor, man. Like, then they start playing him off, and so it's not like when he won his Oscar in 2003, he did the
That
same
did
thing where
happen.
they
Yeah.
played him off, but like I don't know, it came across as as like egotistical, or he's like, I've done this before. I was like,
It
man,
did. It was kind of pompous. And it's weird because Adrian Brody isn't really like a douchebag. Like
no, he seems like a really nice guy,
he's a
but
really nice guy.
yeah,
I've listened.
it was the speech. It was overlong, pompous and didn't quite say what it meant to say, just like the brutal.
I think maybe he was doing this just to spite Kieran Culkin because he took a jab at him at the SAG Awards.
And
It's like 45 seconds. That is the allotted time, Adrian Brody.
it's funny because Adrian Brody didn't win at the SAG Awards.
Right, yeah, that was Timmy.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a deserved win. But yeah, I'm happy that the Brutalist didn't get too many awards that I couldn't really see the appeal of. Like what it
Right.
got, I see and I understand.
Yes, I think very deserving of the awards. I'm also glad that it didn't get just like one or two. I think three was the golden number.
Mhm.
Because any more than like three or four, it would have been like, okay, all right.
A little too
Um,
much.
but any less, I feel like it's again, I've been saying this about a lot of movies, and I think it's just true. It's very distinct from a lot of the other ones, and I feel that like it still in some ways accomplishes something very unique that you really that you just don't get with a lot of mainstream stuff
Definitely.
nowadays. Because even though maybe it didn't execute everything in the way that it was supposed to, it did really feel like this grand thing, this grand event,
Yeah.
this
It
grand
felt like it was
story, this
made 50
grand
years
epic.
ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And bring back intermissions in movies.
Oh,
Like
please, yes.
love it.
They were
Seeing
gonna
it in
do
the
that with
theater with an intermission was awesome. I ran, I peed. I went to my car. I got a Burger King soda that I had in there. I snuck it in my coat. And then I bought M&Ms and popcorn and sat back down right in time for Act Two. It was awesome.
they almost John Chu wanted to do that um for Wicked. Just have it be like a 4 hour long movie or whatever, and
Yeah.
just have like a 15-20 minute intermission, make it a long experience.
Nah, I like having a year as our intermission.
I mean, it works because there's a time gap in the story.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
For
Okay.
those of you, for those of our fans that don't know, so I'm really big into musical theater. I've seen Wicked. I've been lucky enough to see Wicked twice performed on stage. And so like I know the full story. Enzo does not. He wants to go into part two completely blind, and that's something I respect, will defend, and will help him try to accomplish as much as possible because like
Thank you.
so many people that know what happens, and like I
I
want
know.
him to be able to figure out what happens in the way that it was intended.
Yeah, because I felt so great seeing it in the theater, seeing Act One, not knowing what was going on. I was fully into it, so I'm super pumped. I only know one song that's in Act Two, and it's for good, and I don't know the context of it. But yeah, I don't know anything else. I'm totally blind, so I'm
So
excited.
on
Do we
to
have anything else to say about the Brutalist?
I don't think so. I think we've
All right.
talked about that
So
one.
before we move on to the big winner, let's
Best
just talk
actor.
about like the Oscars itself. Like I
Okay.
think Conan, I think Conan was great. I really do. I think I saw a lot of people point this out, and this is something that I've been noticing a lot recently. They've been moving away from like saying like, has anyone even seen these movies? No one saw these. I don't like that because I saw the movies. And like if you're hosting the show, you should have seen the movies.
Mhm.
Like Conan, like he took jabs at people and like at things, he made fun of it. But he also like you get the sense that he respected it and that he loved the movies. And that's the main thing, I think. Um
I
yeah,
just
I liked a
I
lot
just
of, lot of the bits that he did.
I just wanted more of him.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
there
a
wasn't a
whole
whole
bit where
ton.
he's like, I changed. I changed. Like this is a blue suit now. And then like he was in that blue suit for 2.5 hours. I was like, oh. He didn't
Yeah.
walk out in like all gold or anything, but
I wanted more Conan bits. I like the beginning, the cold open, that was funny.
that
I
was
really like
great.
that.
I've rewatched that several times. It's so funny.
There was a lot where there wasn't a lot of substance love in the awards. There's a lot of substance love in the production because then Margaret Qualley did the James for some reason there was a James Bond tribute
Yeah, and she's
and
good. Yeah,
I think she did really good with that.
she did.
Um it was cool. Like it was whatever kind of dance, whatever kind of dancing that was to the James Bond theme is really cool. I think it always looks really cool when a group of people are like doing the same dance like that. Um, and she did really good as like a Bond girl, I think. So yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'm not the biggest Bond fan, but I think it was cool that they did
Yeah.
that. I don't know why, but yeah. Um,
In Memoriam was weird. They did well, it wasn't weird. It was just the music they played was weird. Why did they do Lacrimosa from Mozart's Requiem? It was so ominous and like,
the meme song.
yeah, it's like no, don't do that. And like, I don't know. I just
Yeah,
didn't feel the way that I feel that I was supposed to feel when I was watching it. Um,
fair enough.
I wasn't really crazy about In Memoriam the year before because there was like a whole thing with like ballet and like ribbons and twirling, and it was way too over the top.
That's true. There's a lot of over the top stuff last year, and this year was very stripped down.
Yeah,
As much as the Oscars could be stripped down, it was. There was very like there wasn't a whole ton of hoopla,
yeah,
and I could have done with a little more hoopla.
yeah.
I don't like a whole ton of hoopla, but I could have done with more.
They should. I think they should invite Conan back and like do more bits.
Yeah,
I
I think
was
he's good.
thinking the other day, I was thinking like who would be good to like host the Oscars in the future, and I came up with a pretty good list. I would love to see Steve Carell. These are all people who haven't done it. Steve Carell, Amy
Okay.
Poehler. Um,
Okay, should be good.
I want Conan to come back, but here's wait for this. Now they've had multiple hosts, like two people at once host in the past. Picture this. If so currently the Oscars is at ABC. If NBC were to acquire it some point down the line, Colin Jost Michael Che.
It'd be over. It's perfect.
Great. It'd be great. It'd be
That's perfect.
perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, you said it's on ABC?
Yeah.
Muppets. To Disney. Disney owns ABC. Have the Muppets host the Oscars.
You have to get really creative with the camera work, but I mean, you know
They
what?
they've presented before. The Muppets have presented awards before, and it's great.
Really?
I've seen it, and
Oh, well then
yeah, and
they've done it before, then
because
like what?
they're the Muppets. Of course, it's going to be great. It's Muppets in show business. Like it's perfect. Get someone different to voice Kermit and have the Muppets host.
You really don't like that Kermit, the voice actor.
I don't. He doesn't sound like Kermit. I
Speaking
hear so many better Kermit impressions than whoever voices him.
speaking of Kermit, so yesterday was my friend Erin's birthday, and she got a very
Happy birthday,
cool
Aaron.
looking Kermit puppet thing. And I texted her when she posted on her Instagram story. I'm like, Enzo's gonna have a bone to pick with you.
Wait. Is it like a realistic one?
Fairly. Here, let me see if I can.
Is the face malleable or is it stuffed?
I think it's malleable.
For those who don't know, I'm really angry that they don't sell officially licensed Muppet puppets. All the ones that you could get are knockoffs, and they don't look like. That's pretty. Mm. Yeah, like it's good, but like it's the same because the actual Kermit puppet, the head isn't stuffed. It's like a glove kind, and that's why his head face could contort and stuff. Why don't they sell those? Why don't like I would pay like a officially licensed Muppet puppet, sell it the way it is on the shows, in the movies, sell it. We'll buy them. I don't know. I don't understand why they don't.
All right, I think it's time.
Yes, it's time. It's very late right now.
I'm really excited to talk about this. It's very late. It's 1:05 in the morning right now. We've been
Yeah.
talking since 11:15 yesterday.
Dude, we've been talking since yesterday.
I know, bro.
We've,
We've been talking so long, we've already made that joke.
we've been talking all day. We've been talking as long as Friday, March 7th has been going on. We've been talking
We have.
about the Oscars.
So, no need to beat around the bush. The bushes. Nora was the big winner, and although it wasn't my favorite movie of the nominees, um, honestly, I honestly couldn't have been happier with the way that it turned out because I think it's so we talked earlier in this video about it was a big night for independent movies and you can really feel that when you're watching the movie. Nothing about it is manufactured. Nothing about it is cliche. It's not a traditional plot. It's not really setting up much. It's a different ride. It's like zooming in on something um that movies don't like showcase often. That's just something that Sean Baker does a lot. Got Best Director, and I was really happy about that because I really like his film The Florida Project. And Sean Baker, he does this really great thing where he just takes the least glamorous things, the least glamorous situations, and turns them like he makes them very visually appealing and very interesting, and he captivates the viewer in a way that wants you to like keep watching. There's this one thing that he does in the Florida Project where like he's got like this title card, and he just like kind of holds on the texture of the wall for like 30 seconds while the credits roll. And we were talking about in my intro to film analysis class. I couldn't come up with this because this does sound kind of pretentious, but it is kind of true.
Okay.
He says that like my professor goes, why do you think he would have held on this? Because maybe when you hold on a frame, you start to admire the little intricacies of it, and it becomes almost like it becomes almost beautiful. Like you're fascinated with the way that like the cracks go this way, the mold, like just the texture, everything. Like I
That's
don't
interesting.
to explain it, but like that's pretty much just what Sean Baker does in a nutshell. Um, with like objects and also just with facets of life that aren't really talked about. Like in all four of his movies, he involves sex work in it in some way. And
Yeah.
this is well, I don't really know for sure because I haven't seen Tangerine and I haven't seen all of Red Rocket, but I think Honora is the maybe not the first time, but the second time where he's done it where it's like very it's like the focus because Honora is a stripper, and
Mhm.
I feel that like in a lot of movies, it's just like kind of looked down upon. It's like, oh, it's the stripper, oh, it's the sex worker, but he manages to find a way to create a story and create a character that makes you feel interested in following her, and it makes you invested in that story. And I also just love how like the story is just so different from anything you've ever seen ever. Like going into this, it's like, oh, like it's a love story, but like no, like this stripper gets involved with this really rich Russian guy who turns out to be the son of a Russian oligarch. And then he marries her to just piss off his parents so he doesn't have to move back to Russia. It's not like a regular rom-com. He does something to piss off his parents.
I
And then
mean, she thinks that it's love because she's never really, she doesn't know what to compare it to. Like she, like that,
right.
she's mistaking this for love, and in the whole movie she's in denial
Yeah.
until the ending kind of breakdown.
And at the same time, she thinks this is love, but it's not presented in a way where she's all like lovey dovey and everything. I mean, like sure, like physically she's all over him, but like it's all very self-indulgent, which we've
Yeah,
talked about before. And
and
you
mainly
can
he's
tell
all
that
over her.
yeah, there and he's very openly like all over her and like, oh, I love you, and she's like, oh, okay. But like even though she like is naturally closed off, she is like she does like as a sex worker. I mean, this kind of like talks about I mean the film as a whole, where like she as a sex worker, I mean she isn't really like in the best place.
No, God, no.
So she um you see by the end that she doesn't she sees herself just as what she is and not as a human being. So she leaped at this chance of what she thought was love, wealth, and just comfort, and it's just so interesting and new. It's not When Harry Met Sally. It's not um How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, two movies which I've not seen in full, but I do know the premise. It's very it is its own thing, and then after the first act, it just like completely becomes something that you don't expect it to be. The first act doesn't set it up to be um for this. It doesn't set the audience up with major expectations for um the zaniness to like throw you off and make you alienated from what's going on. You're just kind of on for this adventure, and you're just like, oh, well, what's going to happen? You can feel that this is something new. You can feel through this storytelling that like it's an independent film because it's trying something new. It's different from anything else. It's not like anything you've seen before, and that's why I have so much respect for Sean Baker and everything that he does with this film. He directed it, he wrote it, he edited it.
Yeah,
And
that's
like
great.
he won 4 awards in the same night for the same movie. That is Oscar history. I have so much
Yeah.
respect for someone who has done that without the influence of a major studio. This was all through Neon. Neon's the place to go, guys. I mean, Neon's got great stuff, I guess. But
Parasite.
Parasite, Robot Dreams, Anatomy of a Fall, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, all great stuff. I mean,
Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying because like there's nothing really to compare it to. It's a new voice, it's a new thing. And you really feel like that. However you feel about the movie, you notice that and you respect it and it kind of punches you in the gut when it's over. And yeah, so like in that way, I do understand it continues the trend of non-conventional Best Picture winners. The last 4 years in a row, the last four Best Picture winners did not seem to fit the mold. Um, and I hope that this continues because it really shows a sense of respect, really, like, a respect for quality in the Academy. The one thing that I knew was never going to happen, but I personally think that Carly Farjat should have won Best Director for
mm,
The Substance, just because like I feel like for how good Enora is, I feel like The Substance is that's also like it's something totally new, and it's just like it even more so than Enora just kind of takes the reins of the uniqueness of it, and like her and Sean Baker are very similar because she storyboarded the entire movie in like detail. She wrote it, she directed it, she produced it, she edited it. And she also, I think, worked on like the special effects and everything. So it just goes to show like obviously Sean Baker won. Corley Farjat, I think, was objectively the if it wasn't Sean Baker, she's objectively the best of the rest of the four, I think. Um, and both of them, what do they have in common? They had the most control of their vision. It was a unique story told in a very unique way. And it was done from their mind to the movies to the Oscars. And like that's the best story possible
yeah.
when you're watching the Oscars as someone who just loves making movies.
It's it's so great. Yeah, like I agree. Just this story of the auteur shining through amidst a sea of corporate manufactured stuff. Because I feel like, I mean, regardless of like however you work on a film, you do have to uh like as we're both learning in school as a director, you do have to like learn to trust other parties, other groups, other factions, that they're going to do their part, because obviously you can't oversee everything, but to still be able to get into each department and be able to not necessarily lead, but can have a hand in it that still communicates it the way that you want is so important, because
Definitely.
when everything's coming from you, when you have a story that you want to tell and you have a vision for it, for the way that you want it to be like stage blocked and edited, you absolutely deserve to have it executed in the way that you want it because it is yours. And
Yeah. Yeah,
major
definitely.
respect to the
Um,
directors nominated this year.
all right. Judging that my computer is at 3%
No.
and
So I don't know if it picked up, but I just said, well, judging by the fact that my computer is on 3%, and right as I said that, my computer shut off. So I guess it was on less than 3%, but it didn't tell me that. Well, I think we've exhausted this conversation enough. This is our way to cope with the postseason depression, and as I'm sure if you made it this far into the video, as I'm sure you're able to pick up, just making all videos like this, especially about the Oscars, is really special to us. It's really important. Um, we just feel so passionately about it, and we love to have this platform to talk about it.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for tuning in and for listening to us yap about this for 2 hours. And Ethan, is there anything that you want to add?
No, I think
All right.
I think we've said everything that we need to say for this.
All right. Thank you for, for phoning me in to do the outro here. Um, yeah. Until next time we speak, we you can only see one of us, but we are the Yo Bros, and we want to talk to you about stuff.